Hi everyone, so today we are talking all about Rihanna and why I consider Rihanna to be warm toned and not cool toned. Now, I've heard a lot about Rihanna actually being considered cool toned by a lot of people, and I want to get into why in my system I would consider her to be warm. Now, in artistic license color analysis, I do have another category for warm undertones that's very close to neutral, and so I do believe that this is sort of a category that can sometimes be overlooked or left out in other approaches depending on the approach. So yeah, if you are completely new here, take a look around my channel, and I have a lot of information on my color analysis system. And if you're still confused about your color type, I also offer consults and typings through my website, and I have a link to all of that down below. Okay, let's get into it and talk about Rihanna. So this is the first image that I chose to show of Rihanna. Now, to me, I have to tell you guys, okay, I did not actually know that so many people were calling her cool toned until I called her warm toned in one of my videos, and everybody was like, what do you mean she's warm toned? She's cool. She's actually, considered to be a summer by a lot of people. I don't think she's cool toned at all. And she's just so obviously warm to me, and I think you can see from this image. Of course, you can never tell from one image alone, but this is so representative of what she actually looks like. She looks warm, and she looks warm because she is warm. And so you can see how it's like a rose gold. Her necklace is a rose gold, and it really melts into her skin. That's a sign that you're warm and delicate. So a lot of the time for warm and delicate, you are actually too cool. You're too close to neutral. You're not warm enough for gold to flatter you. And so a lot of people who are warm and delicate actually think that they are cool toned because they don't look good in gold. Now, Rihanna here, arguably she does look pretty good in gold. Her headpiece is a pretty yellow gold, and the fur that on her dress is a pretty yellow gold as well. Pretty yellow, I guess you could call it gold, but it's a pretty yellow color as well. But those colors are slightly too warm on her. I do agree in the sense that she's not that warm. And so I can understand why people would put her into, let's say, summer, into a cool season, a cool color type. But ultimately, I see her as warm. You can see how she has that warm glow to her, and she's wearing all warm colors, and she just looks stunning here. It does not look bad on her. It really works beautifully on her. And so you can see in this lighting, of course, this is not natural lighting, and we never want to reach conclusions from just one image. And the images that I chose in this video are what I believe to be representative of her skin tone. I've actually looked at hundreds of images of Rihanna. And so you can see in this image, this is obviously the same event, and you can see that the man on the left, he has a cool skin tone most likely. I haven't color typed him, of course, but you can see the comparison, how he looks like he has less golden tones to his skin than Rihanna does. He has more ashy tones to his skin in this case, and she has more golden tones to her skin. In the same lighting, it can be really helpful to compare two people, and it can really give, context for the skin tone if you are kind of confused. You can even do this for yourself. If you're curious about yourself, you can compare yourself to other people you're standing next to in the same lighting to see how your skin tone compares to theirs. Okay, so all of this is to say that I do think that she's actually warm, even though this lighting could be this or that. You can see that someone who's cool toned does look cool toned. So there is that. Okay, next up we have hair color comparison. And so the hair colors that I really think are interesting on Rihanna are these warm, slightly warm blonde. Now, remember, this is not a golden blonde. A golden blonde would be much too warm for her because she is warm and delicate. Warm and delicate is close to neutral. But this kind of soft, warm blonde is just stunning on her. It's so beautiful. It just melts into her skin. It just looks amazing on her. It flatters her skin tone. Again, here, this is so cute. I love it. I love this blonde on her. It's just slightly warm. It's not too warm. Now, compare that to Jennifer Aniston, who is cool-toned, and her blonde is often this very ashy blonde, and that is the cool-toned blonde. That is the closest sort of analog I could find to, let's say, a summer in my system is cool and delicate. And so Jennifer Aniston, she's cool and delicate, so her skin tone is cool toned but slightly, it's close to neutral but slightly cool. Rihanna's skin tone is close to neutral but slightly warm. And so Jennifer Aniston, her best blonde is actually this ashy blonde because she truly is cool toned. Rihanna is not truly cool toned. Her best blonde is a soft, slightly warm blonde. So yeah, so I really prefer this blonde on her, and I love it. Like, I think it looks so beautiful on her. And so now something like this, where it's pure black, jet black, is particularly harsh on her. So this tells us again that she is some sort of soft type. So she is a delicate type, she's a muted type. She doesn't look good in clear, very harsh colors, very, very bright colors, all across the board. Although there are some exceptions that I'll get into at the end of the video, because that's more about her bone structure and how her bone structure relates to her color type. Okay, so the thing with this is that hair color looks too harsh against her skin. It's just too harsh against her, and it's basically jet black. It's almost like a blue black. It's not a brown black. Now contrast that to this brown black, and I think that this looks perfectly fine on her. So a lot of the time, there are people who are warm and delicate or cool and delicate, and their hair color appears to be almost black, but it's not. It's usually like a brown black or something like that. And that's all it takes for it to really look soft enough on them, because of course a lot of people, like Rihanna, her natural hair color could be this color, and your natural hair color is usually always very flattering on you. And so on Rihanna, that darker hair color, the brown black, is beautiful on her, but this jet black is really too harsh on her. So subtle differences that can make a huge difference in terms of the color choices. But at the same time, it's not, no pun intended, splitting hairs. It's not so difficult. You can usually tell a jet black from a brown black pretty easily. So, okay, next up, photos in daylight. The thing with skin tone is that you want to make sure that at least some of the photos that you're using to color type someone are in daylight. And I do ask this of my clients in my photo instructions. If they were to book a typing with me, I ask that some of their photos are in daylight. They don't all have to be in daylight, but the more that are in daylight, the better. And I also tend to ask that they're taken on different occasions throughout the past few years versus just 10 photos on one day, for example, because that really is kind of like one photo. Like if you take 10 photos in the same exact conditions with the same exact camera, that's really kind of like one photo, because it's not really showing different conditions than how your skin looks in different lighting and how your skin looks on different days with different cameras and things like that. But photos in daylight are incredibly important, so I tried to collect some to show you guys of Rihanna to show the warmth of her skin. So here we have her in daylight, and this was like, I think this was from over 10 years ago, this image, and so she looks particularly warm here. Now, usually, someone who's warm and bright will stay warm and bright for quite some time, but as people get older, they do change undertone. So here, it could be that she actually is this warm, so she could be warm and bright. I mean, she looks very warm here to me. I would even put her into warm and bright. Like, I've seen some people put Rihanna into spring because she looks good in, like, bright, warm reds, but I don't think that she's that bright. I'm going to get into that later. That's more about her bone structure. She looks good in bright colors because of her soft features, not because of her skin undertone. So, but here she looks really warm. And her warm hair color really suits her very beautifully. It all looks effortless. And this is taken in daylight, and I'm pretty sure there's no filter on this because this was years ago. So she clearly looks very warm here to me. She also looks warm here, but I really like this image because you can see that she's not that warm. This is a more recent image. Now, again, I don't know if it was just that one image or if she's now kind of getting closer to warm and delicate and she used to be warm and radiant. I don't know. I just know right now she's warm and delicate. So in this image, you can see that this terracotta, kind of like it's a slightly warm color, this terracotta jacket really melts into her skin. So that's a sign of warm and delicate. And it just looks beautiful on her, and she looks slightly warm in this lighting as well, just in daylight. Again, you can see she just looks slightly warm, and again, not too warm. And I can understand why people would put her into cool because she is only slightly warm. And if someone who's slightly warm wears colors that are too warm, that can sometimes be particularly unflattering. So I can understand why some people would put her into cool, but I just really think that it's not so much that she looks bad in cool colors, it's just that she really just lights up, and it makes all the difference when she wears those slightly warm colors. So here again, her skin tone looks slightly warm, and this is also in daylight. Okay, what it takes to make Rihanna look cool toned. So now I was taken aback, you guys, because I saw this image. Oh, this is an interview of her, and I saw this interview and I was like, what? She looks cool and radiant. She looks like a winter coloring. You know, she looks cool and bright here. The black doesn't look harsh on her. The black hair, I mean, it appears to be could be even jet black hair. It's hard to say. Doesn't look harsh on her. What's going on? Is she not warm? Of course, I didn't think, is she not warm? But I was wondering what's going on, because this is kind of strange. And then I realized that, and you know, even with people who are warm toned and they're in unnatural lighting, even in cases like that, it's still going to be profoundly difficult to make someone who's warm toned look cool toned, even in different lighting conditions. So I've just found, even through my consults and everything, when people submit images, if they look warm, if they look warm in daylight and stuff, they usually tend to look warm in artificial lighting too. Even if it is cool lighting, I mean, you have to take the whole group of images into account when you do a typing. But it's not really this extreme that someone who's warm and delicate is going to look cool and radiant. It's usually not like this. So what happened here? Look at this lighting. There's blue everywhere. And blue, of course, is like the carrier of the cool tone. If you have more blue to your skin, you are cool toned. And if you have more yellow to your skin, you're warm toned. That's how I do it in artistic license. Not everyone does it that way. So here, there's blue surrounding her. And that's why she looks cool and bright. That's why. That's why the black doesn't look harsh on her. And that's what it takes, pretty much surrounded by blue lights. You can see there's just blue lights all over that wall. Excuse me, everywhere. And that's what it takes for her to look cool toned. So yeah, I don't buy it. I don't think she's cool toned, you know. From this image, I'm certainly very skeptical of it. So okay, so Rihanna wearing cool colors. The next thing is, does she look good in cool colors? Now the thing is that, again, she's not going to look that bad in cool colors. The question is, are they her best colors? Because it's tricky with warm and delicate, because being warm and delicate is kind of like everything looks all right on you for the most part, especially cool colors look okay on you. So you can kind of just live your life not kind of nicely, but not like living your best color harmony life. You know what I mean? So that's the thing with being warm and delicate. It's not so much that these colors are going to look that bad on her. Like, this purple is very separate from her. It's very disconnected from her. Does it make her look bad? Not necessarily. Doesn't make her look bad. It's just not that great of a color for her. It doesn't do anything for her. So when I'm thinking about warm and delicate, I'm thinking about, does this color do anything for you? And I don't think it does. And so it does look disconnected from her, but here's Alicia Keys, who is cool and radiant, and purple does not look disconnected from her. You could say, Miriam, doesn't purple look disconnected from everyone? It doesn't. So Alicia Keys is cool and radiant. She's cool and bright. And she looks like the purple just melts into her skin. So here we have, now I understand this is not the most flattering image, but regardless, this cool pink, this sort of, I would say this must be some sort of summer color. It's like a dusty pink type of thing. I really think that it looks fine on her, but not great. It doesn't do much for her. So I wouldn't put her into cool. I'm not really seeing that this lights up her skin or anything. So here, this gray color on the left, it does look pretty nice. Now, I'm not sure if it's a slightly warm gray, because sometimes that can happen, or if the lighting here is very warm. But regardless, I would say that she looks slightly more glowy on the right than she does on the left. Now, I really like the gray, again, on the left. I do love it. And I can see why people would put her into a summer. This isn't something where I just can't, I can't see at all why somebody would do this or something. I can see it. I can see why she looks pretty in that. And I agree she looks pretty in that. I love that image of her on the left. It's just that I do wonder if it's just the mutedness of the color that is what's flattering on her. Not so much the hue of the color, not so much that it's a gray. And also it could also be a little bit of a warm gray. It does appear to be slightly like a stormy gray. It's hard to tell if it's, kind of a cool and delicate gray or a warm and delicate gray, but I do like the gray on her, but it doesn't paint a full picture of her coloring. And you can see also just how warm her skin looks against that gray. Like, it doesn't melt into her skin. Her skin looks incredibly warm compared to the gray. And so to me, that's one of the biggest indicators, just because her skin looks kind of disconnected from the gray, that she is more warm than that gray color. So here she is wearing some kind of like, I think it's like a dusty dark purple, and I don't think it does anything for her. The cool lip color doesn't do anything for her. None of this does anything for her. She is very beautiful. She has very good skin, so it's difficult always to tell. That's the thing with colors, is that they really help if you have imperfections to your skin, but if you have like perfect skin, then it's not going to make as much of a difference. Oh, and another thing while I'm at it, if you are wearing full coverage makeup, full coverage foundation, then wearing your own colors is not as important. But if you have something that is like a very light coverage foundation, then wearing your own colors becomes more important for how your skin looks and the glow that you have. Okay, so here, the cool red lip I don't think is doing much for her. I think it's just a little too harsh on her and it looks disconnected from her. And here, of course, this is like a very avant-garde artistic kind of look, but I still think it's important to look at it because aside from the lip color, which is just a very artistic kind of lip color, the eye makeup is more like kind of cool and delicate eye makeup, and all of these cool colors, I don't think it really does anything for her. I think it just looks flat on her and it doesn't bring out her glow at all. And so though that soft, muted, cool eye makeup doesn't really do much for her, and the matte doesn't do much for her either. And in part that's because of her soft features, because it's so matte, and the dark matte lip color is too heavy on her. Some of it is just her softer features, like her full lips and her soft eyes and her soft cheeks. So that plays into it. So there is this as well, which is more of a glowy makeup look, and that does look less heavy on her because of her softer lips, her softer eyes and everything. But the cool colors of this makeup look, I think, still don't do much for her at all. And so here, you guys, this is like, you let me know, I'm pretty sure this is like a classic summer color, right? It's like cool, like the soft blue color, like that's the trademark, soft summer, cool summer, whatever color, okay? So to me, this looks like she looks good despite the color, not because of it. Again, here, despite the color, not because of it. I don't think it's doing anything for her at all. And I'm even a little surprised because I thought it would do a little more for her because she is still muted and soft in her coloring. So, but I don't think it does anything for her. I think it's a waste of time to wear this jacket. Which is like, I know that she has really good skin, right? But to me, if I had really good skin, I would want to wear things that make it look even better. Like, nobody ever wakes up in the morning and says, well, I look great, I want to look slightly worse. So that's nothing anybody ever says. So yeah, I mean, I would just never wear this color if I were her. Like, why would she? She looks so much better in those like soft, warm colors. Okay, so Rihanna looks warm because she is warm. And the thing is that there is a little bit of an undercurrent of another conversation here, which is, if someone looks warm, are they always warm? And the answer is no. Just because someone appears to be warm, it depends on what you call appears to be warm. I personally know what I'm looking for when I type someone warm or cool. I know what I'm looking for at a skin, like in terms of a skin tone, and I know a lot of color analysts are the same way. They can look at someone and they can tell you, look, most likely you're warm or most likely you're cool. Now, of course, they do their due diligence and they look at different color drapings and they look at different color examples, but that doesn't mean that they can't at some point just look at a skin tone and tell, oh, this person's probably warm or this person's probably cool. And sometimes it can be misleading because some olive skin tones can have yellow surface tones that make them look warmer, some rosy skin tones. Some people feel that rosy skin tones look warm because of the reds in the skin. Now, I consider red to be neutral. I consider yellow to be warm. So to me, rosy skin tones, they're not necessarily warm or cool. It just depends. But, there can be some confusion. I understand this idea that, there's this idea of like the undertone, which is this elusive thing. And then there's like, when you look at someone, you're just seeing their overtone. I believe that's not always true. I believe if people look warm, they usually are warm. There can be red herrings in how they look, but usually if people are warm, they look warm, they are warm. And that's what I found, and that's what I found with my clients and the feedback from my clients and everything in between. So here, the whole point of this is to lead into this. Here, she appears to be warm. She appears to be golden. And that gold necklace actually doesn't even seem to be too cool on her. It actually seems to work just right on her. And she doesn't appear to be wearing much makeup, and this probably isn't a very edited photo. Actually, it's from a video. It's a still from a video, so I doubt that it's really that edited or anything, and it's kind of in daylight. Like sometimes in a car, lighting can be different, but the point is she looks kind of warm here. She still looks warm, and the gold melts into her skin as well. So this gives me indication that she's warm because even the gold melts into her skin. And here she just looks stunning. Like, I love this. And trust me, if I were to wear that blazer, I wouldn't look like that. And not because I don't look like Rihanna only. It's because my skin would look like it's gray because I'm cool toned. Rihanna is warm. And she looks like she has this soft golden glow to her. That hair color, the softer hair color looks beautiful on her. The jewelry looks beautiful on her. The blazer and that texture to the blazer that's like slightly has a sheen to it is beautiful on her. It's stunning. And her skin is glowy. I just love this. And this is like a classic thing that she is warm and delicate. And the blazer is not too yellow in tone. This is the important thing. You can't wear like yellow gold as warm and delicate usually. That can be a little bit too yellow on you, a little bit too warm. But this kind of like rose gold type of thing is just stunning. Like a coppery color is just stunning. So anyway, ultimately, this is what I would put Rihanna in. Now, everybody knows, I didn't include, but everybody knows that photo of her in the warm, bright red dress and how she looks stunning in that. I included the warm, bright red right at the very bottom. I have a warm purple. I have a warm blue. Now, purples and blues in my system are not actually warm, but there are warmer versions of purple and warmer versions of blue. And warm undertones have an easier time wearing cool colors, which is why I include some cool colors for warm undertones, with the knowledge that they're not going to be as good as the warm colors, the actual warm colors, which are like the top 3 colors of this color palette and the red. So the warm red is beautiful. Like a soft peach would be so stunning on her. This kind of like soft, like pastel-y yellow or like pastel cream type thing, like peaches and cream types of color palettes would be so beautiful. A soft moss color, it's almost like a light olive green. And then we have like this sky blue, which is a so-called like warm blue, and then we have like the 3 bright colors. Now, this isn't the most extensive color palette, but more or less, she can wear variations of these colors. So a lot of the time, you guys, color palettes will often have like 10 variations of slightly warmer, like slightly darker or lighter colors of the same color, and they appear to be a different color, but they're really not. So I didn't really do that here, but this really encompasses the majority of her good colors. And so we have like pastels and we have bright colors, and the reason for that is because she also does have the softer features. So she has the soft eyes and the lush lips and the soft cheeks, and the angles of her face are very soft. So if she were to wear like a dark olive green or sort of heavy earth tones, can look very, very heavy on her. And I have a video called, I think, Why Color Analysis Doesn't Work for You, or Why You Don't Believe in Color Analysis, where I discuss this exact effect. But the same effect exists for Rihanna. So her coloring alone may call for like maybe a lot of earth tones because she's like warm and she has some darker features as well. But I would never really recommend that she wears earth tones, just because this is the thing with artistic license. I do take into account the features because that can really be a huge factor in your color type. in your best colors is just the lines of your face, basically. So these colors would look beautiful on her. We have the pastels and we have the bright colors. So if you have these softer features, you look good usually in pastels and bright colors, and if you have more angular features, you look good in darker colors or potentially darker earth tones, like you can handle darker earth tones. So these are the color recommendations that I have come up for her, and I think that's it. So that's it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts as usual. Leave me some comments down below, and if you have video requests, if you have any questions, leave them all down below. And if you are still confused about your color type, take a look around my channel. Obviously, I have a ton of videos on how you can find your best colors. If you're still confused, I also offer typings through my website, and I'll leave a link to those down below. So the typings, I have 3 types of typings. So I have the color typing, which if you're interested in this video, you probably would be most interested in the color typing. This is a color video, but there's the color typing, which does include if your colors are affected by the lines, by your bone structure or by your facial features, then I do include a short section on how I'm not going to leave you out in the cold. I'm going to tell you that, you know, your colors are affected by your bone structure, and I'm going to tell you how to alter your colors for your bone structure. But then I also have the full report, which includes everything, including an assessment of your silhouette, an assessment of your like silhouette and features and things like that, and what best lines look harmonious on you, and the style elements that look harmonious on you. And then I also have the color type and the essence and everything in between. So that would be the full report. That would be like everything. And then I have only the body typing, which is the body geometry typing. So yeah, I'll leave a link to all of those down below. And if you really like these kinds of longer videos, and if you're still here until the end as well, I also have Miriam Style Club. And so in Club, I have a lot of exclusive content. And if you join Club, you get access to all of the previous content that I've ever recorded. I think I've had it up for like, I don't know, I think Club has existed for around 5 years now. So there's a lot of content on there that you may enjoy if you enjoy the videos on my channel. So you can take a look at that, and I'll leave a link to that down below as well. Okay, so that is it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Leave me a comment, and I will talk to you next time.